Hello and welcome to BusyWorksBeats.com. Today we continue our new series called the Beatmaker Bootcamp here at BusyWorksBeats.com/BetterBeatmaker. I'll leave a link below. Today we're covering, do you need to produce for artists to be a better producer? I'll show you the tips and tricks on how to produce for artists so that they have enough room. So firstly, you need to understand melody. The first thing is that there's a rhythm layer to melody. There's a harmony layer to your beats. There's a top line. And then we have what's called a contrast layer. Okay, so this is for all of your song, okay, or a low layer. Some people call this the bass layer. You have a rhythm layer, a harmony layer, a top line layer, and a contrast layer. This is what beat making comes down to. So you have to think of the artist as one of these layers. And if you don't create enough space for this, or you overly fill one of these categories, you won't have enough room for the artists. Okay, so let's just start from scratch and show you kind of in context. So let's start with harmony. I like to start with harmony because through harmony, you can generate the bass line and the top line all together. So let's start with a polyphonic instrument, in this case, meaning I can play multiple notes. Let's go to our top sounds and just kind of pick from these. Okay, let's play something like that, like Scarface type feel. Let's record that. So I'm playing harmony, which are chords, or two notes or more. Okay, so we're just playing that suspended chord. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so using those suspended chords to really get that tense sound. So we went from D minor to C minor, and we use those suspended chords. So these are the chords. That's the harmony layer. So I dropped that into the harmony section. Now your harmony can change over time. You don't have to continue to repeat the same thing over time. Let's change it up just to show you. Let's make it go the opposite way. Let's do D into, let's just change it up so it has a different feel to it. So notice I'm switching up the vibe. I like that better, actually. Let's do that. Okay, so I'm playing D minor, half step down, and then we're moving into first inversion A minor. The last chord I gotta fix because I forgot we needed 4 chords there. Okay, so now we have 2 sections of this song. So as you can see, it's very not formulaic in the terms of not creative, but it's very formulaic in the terms of it's a step-by-step process to making songs. You can learn how to do this at BusyWorksBeats.com/BetterBeatmaker. I'll leave a link below. So right here, I want to change this chord out. Let's do B diminished or B. Let's see what kind of chord we want. I like that chord. This is really G first inversion, G major. Okay, so now that we have all these notes mapped out, let's hit Control G to group these patterns together. All right, so now we need the top line. So how do we create a top line? A top line is usually 1 octave or higher above your top note in your chords. So now we're going to open up another instrument, and we're just going to play 1 octave higher. If you don't know where to start, you could just take the top note of your chords and play that an octave higher. So let's add some brass. So the top note in this case is A. Okay, so we're going to start there. And here we're going to move to a new pattern, in this case, I should say. So Control L, send these to a new. So now we're going to be writing in what's called the top line area. Okay, so let's go to a new pattern. Let's start off on A, which was our top note. Okay, so that's a top line. It's just something higher than the harmonies most of the time. Okay, it's not like a hard rule. It's just a rule of thumb. There's our top line. Pretty simple. Now on this section, we're going to use the same. Pretty much, we could probably do the same thing. Let's hear it in context. So you can use the same exact notes. Now the contrast layer does something a little bit different than the top line. So this is where they create a difference. Contrast is how our eye understands distance and shape. So the same with your ears. Your ears need to hear dramatic differences in order to catch sound. Okay, that's why transients are so important, because they create the contrast in volume. So contrast is about doing the opposite of something. Okay, so if your top line is doing something high and slow, maybe your contrast or lower frequencies do something faster. Okay, so this doesn't mean you need to make this a bass line. It just means we're gonna do something a little bit faster here. Let's hear these sounds in context. And let me go back. Boom. Okay, let's create this. Now, I was playing a rhythm there. That's a rhythm. So now we're occupying the rhythm layer and the contrast layer. So you got to be careful not to overly fill the rhythm layer, because that's where a lot of overlap happens. All right, so now we can go in and we need to create something different. So let me just freestyle for a second and let's figure it. So I like that. It was kind of bouncy. Let's go to, so I recorded without recording. Let's go to, where is it at here? Always mix this up here. Let's go to macros, and where's dump score log? Did they move it? Here it is. Dump score log to select the pattern in the last 2 minutes. I'm basically just going to go to where I played those notes, copy them, move to a different pattern, paste them, and then try to line this up. I believe I started on the downbeat. So I didn't start on the downbeat because that's what creates contrast, having a different timing. So it's boom, boom. So having a syncopation here. Okay, so that's contrasting that top line. Now the top line sound could be better. Not the greatest of sounds there. But that's where sound selection comes into play when you get into genre. And again, if you want to learn all this, just go to busyworksbeats.com/betterbeatmaker. We have a free beat making course for you in this Beatmaker Bootcamp. So we're going to guide you through. Let's switch out the sounds. That's a cool sound. That sound catches my ear, so let's add that. Now we need a rhythm layer. Okay, so the rhythm layer could be a bass line, it could be anything. So let's add another xenology here and add some rhythm. It could be an arpeggio. Okay, so I don't know if xenology has arps in here. Let me see if they have arpeggios. I'm not quite sure if they have arps. That'd be under synth. I don't think they have, maybe under sequence. Let's see if they have these. Nothing's playing in ARP. So we're gonna have to program it in. Either way, let's see what sound do we want. Let me play this track. So we're gonna just copy the chords, but this time we're gonna play the chords with the rhythm. And again, we're going into the rhythm section. Now the rhythm section could also be left open for the artist. And that's why Eminem's beats were very minimalistic. If Eminem is the rhythm of the track, you don't want 3 other rhythms fighting with Eminem in order to, determine the bounce of the track. So in this case, we could leave it open. And this is where, again, this formula allows you to not overly fill your beat. Because you have to ask which section of this is the artist's job. Okay, so the rhythm, in this case, we're gonna load up some drums. We're gonna use the drums as the rhythm. So I'm just picking quick sounds because we're not gonna make an entire beat. But the point is, I'm showing you how fast you can make a beat when you think of it this way. So let's do boom, clap, clap, clap. And we could get more rhythmic with the hi-hats and make it faster or whatever it is. But, you know, I know I made a pretty simple beat here, but if I were to spend more time on it, that's the 4 layers to making a beat. You have a rhythm layer, harmony layer, top line layer, contrast layer. And you have to ask, where does the artist fit in? Which layer will the artist fit in? Are they a high frequency singer? They would go in the top line area. Are they more of a lower frequency singer? They would go in the contrast layer. So now the artist has to fit in one of these things. Because I'm a lower frequency singer, I would sing down in this area here. So now I have to make sure my top line doesn't clash with this melody here. So now you can go in and do this as even as a producer, or just sing to yourself, or whistle to yourself, or hum to yourself. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is figure out what key we're in, since I kind of changed keys midway. And we're gonna load up auto-tune and sing a little melody into it. So D minor is the primary key here. So now we're gonna go to auto-tune. You don't have to do this, but you can sing it to yourself. You don't need auto-tune. Let's just put it on D minor. And now we have it on. Now we can hear ourselves through auto-tune, and now we can check if the artist would actually fit. Now, because whatever vocal range they're in, this is a nuance that you have to understand. If they're a high frequency singer, they're gonna fit in the top line area. If they're a lower frequency, they would fit in a contrast layer. So what is the contrast layer of the beat doing? The artist will sound pretty similar to this. We talking so they would follow that. Okay, so that's the pocket they would exist in. Now you have to chisel out from your mind. Every artist is going to have a different approach to the melody. But in your mind, you have to go out and now chisel out more room for that specific cadence. Now, this is where post-production comes into play. When people record the beats, most of the time it's a 2-track. But also, if you have access to the stems and you're working directly with a producer, you can actually go in and rearrange stuff, take stuff away, repurpose stuff, cut stuff out. That's called post-production. And that's the step that a lot of music producers miss because they just send off the beat and that's it, but there's also post-production where you add stuff to it. You embellish some of the artists' riffs and motifs that they're doing. So that, production is a full process. It's not just making the beat. That's why there's a debate about music producers versus beat makers. Beat makers send off the beat and that's it. Producers, in my opinion, also go in, they change stuff, they rearrange stuff, they add stuff to the beat. It's more than just the beat stage, but it doesn't mean beat makers aren't producers. It doesn't mean producers aren't beat makers. So I make that clear. All right, guys. So do you need to produce for artists to get better? Not necessarily. I think you need this 4-step process, which I teach in the Beatmaker Bootcamp. Just go to busyworksbeats.com/betterbeatmaker. The link is below. This 4-step process is super simple. You won't overcomplicate your beats. You have rhythm, harmony, top line, contrast. You'll notice that if you start adding multiple rhythms and multiple things that go against each other in the same category, that's when your beat sounds busy and overfilled. So you don't need an artist in order to determine if your beat is overfilled. The artist will sound like whatever vocal range they're in, it will fit that specific layer. Okay, so whatever the layer is doing, chances are the artist will do the same thing, or else you'll have clashing. Okay, so thanks for watching. It's Game from busyworksbeats.com. Peace.